sense of insecurity, a sense of hopelessness, group social disintegration, a lack of group consciousness, a sense of displacement, individual and group uncertainty. Much of this has been achieved through cultural terrorism against African people. How do we begin to recover and ultimately restore a healthy African spiritual system for ourselves and our future generations? We must begin by studying and getting to know African history. The reason for knowing history is to obtain the glue to bind the bits and pieces of our scattered and fractured self back together again, so we can have a clear and a realistic blueprint to work from in building our future based on African indigenous model. Knowing our history will allow us to discover the philosophical and the psycho-spiritual approaches, methods, and techniques used by our ancients and our most recent ancestors in constructing their civilization. Through studying and getting to know our history, will uncover the essence of our cultural heritage. Remember, it is culture that protects the people from genocide. And so we have to be very clear by starting out knowing that you are God having a human experience. And I know some of you are so scared of it with all the nationalism you say you got. But if you get up in the morning and look in that mirror in your birthday suit and say, "Good morning, God. How are you today? What do we have planned for ourselves?" You know? And then work out your plan and go and work it in the work. There should be no other God for me, before me. But you have to really know it. You have to really trust all those people whose seed you are. You see that oak tree? In that big old tree is contained in that tiny little seed. That big old massive redwood tree is contained in a tiny little seed. You are the tiny little seed that contains the entire universe. African culture is simply a methodology for explaining to you the reality of your being, the universe itself. You understand what I'm saying? We get the light from the sun. You know, we eat collard greens, we got iron, we eat carrots, we get beta-carotene, we eat fish, we get another type of protein. But they get all that stuff from sucking the radiation in it, breaking it down, so we can use it. You understand? So when in voodoo, when they call the tree their friend or the river their mother, they ain't joking. That's real. But you have to accept and understand that life is every and all things at once to understand the reality of it. So I hope I've given you some sense. There's just so much. I could actually sit and talk to you about this for the next 2 years and not really repeat very much, you know. But remember your mother and all that pain she went through to have you. What do you think that was about?
That's right.
It wasn't just about sex. Sex is nice, it's good, we all have enjoyed it. But when we start, I hadn't had sex in about 2 years, and it's cool. Because I got something else to do now. I got all them children. But I ain't telling you to stop now. It's still good. Even when you're 80, it's still good. And so, but it had a purpose, a very fundamental purpose. It had a purpose that allowed you to imitate God. It allowed you to create the human being. Imagine that. See, we don't think about stuff. What do you do when you have sex? At the moment that you have an orgasm, there's no moment, no feeling in space and time greater than that moment. And especially if you and the man is having an orgasm together, and that egg and that sperm bang up in unity and produce you. Create you. You get to act as God. But the white man has reduced sex to profanity and not the sacred act of acting like God that our ancestors knew it to be. Because out of that act came each one of us. So how can it be profane? You understand what I'm saying? We are sacred beings because we are an expression of an aspect of ourself, which is the total being that we call God itself. So the religions that got us all confused and got the Black Methodists not associating with the Black Baptists and the Episcopalian not speaking to the Black Catholic and the Seventh-day Adventists don't want to speak to the Jehovah's Witness. That's total friggin' insanity. Yes. But it's the white man's way of dividing and conquering. Yes. And what's so amazing, all of them using the same damn Bible. Yes. So how can you be using the same Bible that should be the source of your unity, and it is the very source of your disunity? Yes. Same thing with Islam. You got the Nation of Islam over here. You got the Sunni brothers over here. You got the Ahmadiyya brothers over here. You got the Shia brothers over here. All of them saying Salam Alaikum, Allahu Akbar. But they can't work together as black people. We got to stop it. We got the black Christian, the black Hebrew Israelite, the black Moors, the black in the Muslim community. All of them using basically the same body of information, but they can't work together. They've been killing each other for decades. They've been putting each other down. In the meantime, the prison is full of our babies, and the graveyard is full of more of our babies. So don't make spirituality something spaced out. Don't make God something remote that you have to have some little secret prayer to. And while you're doing all this gardening and praying and religion, 2 million of our boys and girls at the penitentiary, another 5 million on probation or parole, millions on drugs, millions of our husbands are alcoholic, millions of our male are permanently unemployed and will never be able to find work. Millions more of our youth are unemployed into the 40 and 50 percentile. We live in a community where we're 99% and we can't control the damn politics of it. Got a handful of little crackers that own a few businesses that we spend our money with running our big political life. We have to stop it. Dessalines said, freedom or death? That's right. Freedom or death? Who the hell want to live not free?